Classic Tony. So goose.
All right. Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Just Another Year Bulls. Um, trying to do some live streams this year. Hopefully, after every game, our boy Justin's probably going to be the main lead on it. But we're still figuring it out. So, whenever you're watching, comment, let us know what you want us to do, and we'll do it. We'll do anything. So,
Truly.
we're breaking down the Bulls versus the Pelicans, baby. Opening night. It was definitely a basketball game. It was opening night for sure. I'll tell you that much. Justin, what'd you think? What are your key takeaways, key thoughts?
Well, let's just start off with the elephant in the room. I mean, Zach LaVine going 5 for 5 from 3-point land in that first half. I mean, it was excellent. I mean, you love to see something like that, especially when there were such huge trade rumors going around last season, and we had no clue if he was going to be a Bull this season or not. To see him do what he was doing, you can clearly make the assumption that he has taken over DeMar DeRozan's role in this offense. Obviously, second half only scored 5 points. That's not where you want to be with that. Lonzo Ball's back, came in, was really, really productive in his efforts. Josh Giddey looks great. He's got to work on that mid-range, but other than that, I mean, it was a lot of shooting for the Bulls, a lot of points scored in the paint as well. Just defensively, there's some kinks that's got to get straightened out. So, yeah, Nick, what do you think?
I thought like the lack of DeMar was felt very strongly in the second half, because I think this is going to be maybe just how this season goes, where we're moving fast, we're fast breaking, we got some athletes, we're putting up a ton of shots, fast break threes. We're looking like a real NBA team, a young NBA team. And then, the second half hits and we can't slow it down. We're turning the ball over, because DeMar was the ultimate. Just let me slow it down. Let me just take over so you guys don't fuck it up. But now it's, pardon my language. Now it's, now it's just a complete free for all. We're still terrible defensively. But seeing LaVine ball out was great. That was great. I mean, 7 turnovers is a little bit too much. Giddey had a few too. See him ball. So Lonzo played like 13 minutes, right around where we thought he would. But like you said, Justin, pretty efficient. 5 points, 4 assists. His presence was felt for sure. A couple times. I mean, every time he even cut a certain way or maybe tripped a little bit, Tony and I were gasping at the TV. It was tough to see him fall down, because that's just going to be how it is, right? I mean, he has dead guy's cartilage in his knee. I mean, it's going to happen. But it's fun to see some ball again for me personally. So I loved watching a good old Bulls game. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit hectic. I think every second half is just like, we could win, we could get blown out. But I think we'll be able to hang in the first half, and it'll be relatively fun to watch. So we'll take it.
Absolutely. I think, I saw a lot of talk on Twitter, or X, I should say, and everyone's saying, congratulations, the Bulls just got a first-round pick in regards to LaVine. So Tony, what are you thinking? Does this game bring out LaVine's trade value, or what do you think?
Well, before we can even grading him, he is only 53 pointers away, made 3-pointers away from tying Kirk Heinrich, Captain Kirk, the Bulls franchise lead for made 3-pointers. So that was kind of a cool little stat to see. But yes, I do think that, especially this team, like we were saying, without DeMar, we are lost in the fourth quarter. We're lost in the second half, because that was the game plan the last 2-3 years, whatever it was. Okay. We need a bucket. We don't really know how to get it. We don't know how to create it without just jacking up threes. Give it to DeMar, dribble the air out of the ball, bang a mid-range. And we just don't have that guy right now, which I get that the mid-range is dead, but we also don't have even Kobe White, who was a good 3-point shooter. Like, there are plenty where he just kind of jacks it up. And
not one single 3-pointer made by Kobe White tonight. That's and going on a Kobe White, I think, I mean, it's pretty clear that last year he was our point guard, right? I mean, last year he was our starting point guard. And now that we are kind of, it seems like the reins have been passed to Josh Giddey. on that. Josh Giddey was taking every ball down the court and leading that offense. And now Kobe White is just he started out as a guard, shooting guard, went to a point guard. Now he's back in that shooting guard role. But we clearly see that his most success came from when he was that starting point guard for the Bulls. Again, there's so much guard depth on this team. I don't know how you incorporate all these guys throughout the year and make a decision. So, what do you guys think? I mean, I don't know. I hate to like sit here and say that the Bulls need to trade some of these pieces away. I mean, it's the first game of the year, but again, the guard depth is too much right now.
Yeah, I think we knew it too, like coming in, right? This team has no direction. Like, we can talk about, all right, how are they going to play, in this next game or for the rest of the season, first half of the season. But really, like, when you think about it from like a GM standpoint and where is this team going? I mean, we're not rebuilding, but we're also not really competing. Perhaps management thinks elsewise, but I mean, they think maybe we can be a competitor, but that's always the case, right? But I think everyone kind of knows, even them at this point. I mean, they got to know that we need to make some sort of move, and I think everything's kind of on the table. And Tony and I talked about that last time, but I think the better LaVine plays, the more we're going to be licking our chops, and so our folks around the league, But it is a little strange having just a million guards. Like at the end of the game there, we saw Patrick Williams didn't close out, but Ayo did with the squad there, which makes sense. We're trying to put up threes, I guess, but I mean, he's not really a 3-point shooter. But I guess the idea was that he would drive, kick, out to someone who will drain a three, but didn't really work out, did it, folks?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you made a good point, Justin, about Kobe White. It definitely feels like now that we've seen him, like you said, as a shooting guard, as basically the main point guard, and then now back to kind of, one game, but back to kind of his shooting guard role. It feels like he's a guy that kind of needs the ball in his hand to get a rhythm. Whether it's kicking, just something to get his confidence up, get him moving, get him shaking. I don't know what it is. You see it in baseball all the time. There's, you change one little position, all of a sudden the guy's hitting 200. Yohan Moncada specifically is who I'm referring to. But it's definitely, they're going to have to decide, is Josh Giddey that much of a plus as the starting point guard that we're going to potentially get Kobe reverting back to what he was prior to being the point guard last year and being, I said superstar as a joke a bunch last year. Superstar's crazy. But at least an above average in an injury, if it was an injury riddled year, potentially the last man on an all-star team if he's hitting all his threes like that. He has that potential, in my opinion. He has that ceiling.
He averaged 19 points and 6 rebounds a game last year. I mean, that's tough to do if you're anybody in this league. So, I mean, for him to do that, I think that was special. So I definitely think he's going to figure it out. And I'm not really too worried about it. I know he's got the potential to be like you said, possibly an all-star player, like he possibly should have been last year. But I want to give a huge shout out. I mean, huge shout out to Jalen Smith. He really went in and just contributed a massive amount this game. So 17 minutes played, 5 for 8 field goal, 1 for 3 from 3, and then 15 points, 5 rebounds. So he was really, really effective off the bench. And I know that a lot of questions are being asked, like, does this guy need to be in our starting lineup? I mean, he was brought on this team to replace Andre Drummond, essentially, right? So I think he's going to be way more productive than Drummond was. Maybe not, rebound wise, but offensively, he's going to be a huge asset. So the question's got to be asked. I mean, do you move Vooch to that power forward? Do you then start a Smith in that center position? I mean, there's a lot of questions that are going to be answered, but obviously we wanted Vooch to be playing power forward for a couple seasons now. And obviously I don't think that's going to happen. What are you guys' hopes for Vooch this year? And what is his ceiling for this team? Is he going to be that main guy that is going to score for us in that paint area? And is he going to be someone that you think is going to potentially be a trade target? What do you guys think about Vooch?
You can go, Nick.
It's tough to be really optimistic, I guess, about him. And I think just as a Bulls fan, it's hard to compliment him. But just given, just the trade situation. And so it's not his fault, but we hold him to a higher standard than maybe we should. But he's still gonna. I mean, he put up 21 and 11, right? I mean, he's good for that, and we got to give him credit for being that consistent. I mean, he's going to do that on almost a nightly basis. So I don't see, because of his output, no matter how frustrating some of the individual plays are during the game, as a coach, I think it's going to be tough to look at and put him at a disadvantage if he's still producing like that. I mean, I think he kind of has. I think he has a lot of authority now on this team. Like, he's one of our like only veterans, So I doubt he moves, but I do think, Justin, that they'll give Smith a shot, but I think I don't think you can make any move necessarily after just this game, but it's definitely going to be a conversation. And, who knows? I mean, Billy's also going to be trying to fight for his job this year too. So he'll be trying everything, hopefully, as a coach should. So you never know. I think there's a lot you could do with this lineup. So I certainly wouldn't, want to have to make those decisions. Like, he's got a lot to decide on, and we're obviously going to blame him for a lot if it goes wrong. Sure. So he's in a tough spot, but I don't see Vooch moving to 4 right now. But like you said, if Smith is balling like that, I think it's definitely going to be in the conversation.
Yeah, I think what we saw a lot of from Vooch is, and I don't know, how much everyone was listening to the broadcast. I know it's hard to watch these games in general, but Stacey King was just furious about how they were not feeding Vooch in the post, even though they were taking open shots. I mean, they were. I know Patrick Williams hit a 3 when Vooch was open, and then Josh Giddey, I think, clanked one, whatever. He made a good point. We've seen it year in, year out. We have to get Vooch his post touches so that he feels like he doesn't have to pop out to 3-point land and just sometimes have a good night, but a lot of the time just clanking big threes, especially in a tight game when he's like, oh, man, it is Vooch time, baby, and he just fires one up early in the shot clock. He only attempted 2 threes tonight, which it seems like maybe
That's
whatever
lower.
they were drilling into him this offseason. Hey, stay in the post. Maybe it's working. Jalen Smith, also, love his rec specs. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Big
that.
butt. He's going to be bodying dudes in the post. Love it.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying on Vooch. I mean, it's going to come down to, we got to get through the first 10 games and kind of see what the lineup is going to bring us. And I mean, the biggest stat that pops out to me is that New Orleans got over 10 steals on the Bulls. So that's a huge no-no, right? And the Bulls only got 2 steals the whole game. So there's a lot of inconsistencies. And of course, this is a brand new, lineup, and there's going to be a lot of moving pieces that you're going to have to figure out on the fly, which again goes back to Billy Donovan. And I know that this is a huge year for him. And I personally, I talked about this in the video that I posted for the YouTube. I really think that this is where Billy Donovan excels. I mean, you guys think about it. 2 national titles with Florida college team, and then that amazing deep playoff run he had with the Thunder when Chris Paul was the point guard. So if anyone is capable to take this young core team deep, it's going to be someone like Billy Donovan. So, I mean, if this doesn't work out, and this is last year, maybe his son will be coaching the Bulls next year. Who knows, right? I mean, he's coaching the Windy City Bulls, so we'll see what happens with that. So kind of briefly just discussing the Pelicans, we did notice that Javonte Green is on the Pelicans. Quick question to you guys. How badly do you think we're going to miss someone like Javonte Green this year?
I was having a blast seeing him because he clearly wanted to ball out on his former team too. It was just so obvious. And when he wants to ball, I mean, he's so much more athletic than anyone else on the court at a given time. He's not gonna take a pull-up jumper and nail it, or win any games for you necessarily. But the intangibles that this dude has, I mean, he had twice as many steals as we had as a whole team. Like he had 4 steals. And they were scoring off our turnovers too. He just brings that we're gonna definitely miss. But he would fit in so well, I think, with the speed of this team. However, I don't see it as a difference maker. Of course, for us, we got so many deeper rooted issues. But it was fun to see him ball out, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, when he was on the Bulls still, and he was doing it tonight, he brings that energy of the bench mob, the classic Bulls bench mob that we love, which definitely gonna miss the excitement. The five there's five Javantes out there, when he is truly hustling.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that comment.
yeah, when he is absolutely moving and shaking out there, it is so fun. I totally agree with Nick though that it's not going to be like oh man, if only Javante was out here so we could close out this game. But it is definitely like oh man, like it's a fun guy to have. I wish we had him, not someone else. It's I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe that's a weird way to look at it. It's probably the wrong way. I'm happy I'm not a GM, but yeah, I think I'll miss him.
Yeah, Javante Green is like that, like your high school sweetheart, and you really don't. You don't even care about him much anymore, but you just kind of hate to see him happy, right? It's one of those things. So, in all fairness, we got to see a little bit of Matas Buzelis out there. 5 minutes played, and I mean, didn't do much, sadly. What do you think the decision making behind Matas not getting any minutes in this game was? Like, why wasn't he out there? What do you guys think?
I would guess that it's Billy Donovan
He
doing
plays for the Bulls. Yeah, we don't like to do that.
Yeah,
Fair
it's
enough.
definitely Billy Donovan doing like you got to earn your stripes, kid. Like I do think it's something with that. It's like we're not going to throw you in right away, which we'll see. It might work, might not. I definitely want to see more of him, even if he isn't very good or whatever it may be. I just want this team is not going to win a championship. Probably, I want to be positive, but this team's not. Probably not. Might not even make the playoffs. Although Justin seems to think otherwise, but we'll get to that. I want to see him play. Doesn't have to be a lot, but meaningful minutes because we need to know if we have something. Because he could be, who knows? He could be amazing. We could build around him. We can get rid of, start getting rid of some of these older pieces, or we have to. We may have to fill a spot. Like that's what we need to know, and we probably need to know it pretty soon because this team is a weird construction. I know we have a young core, but we also have some old big pieces, I guess I should say. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I was just gonna. This probably sounds a little bit conspiratorial, but you got to think like, all right, if Ack and Eversley, if they think that we are legit contenders, then pressure might be on for Billy to then deliver that. And then Billy's going to now, instead of try to develop some players, take more risks. He's like, well, we got to win this game. We got to get in the playoffs. We got to win a championship, baby. It's like, well, of course you don't want to lose on purpose. It's fun to not be tanking. I mean, no matter how pessimistic you can get on this Bulls team right now, I definitely wouldn't, I wouldn't want to be at the bottom of the barrel, but sometimes it works. I mean, you see the Pistons, they're going to be a contender now. So sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and do it. I think we're just stuck in this purgatory right now where we don't really know what we're shooting for in the long term and short term. And I think, but you gotta let the kid play, especially with how well he played. I mean, in the preseason and, a lot of hype around him, I think deservedly so. He looks like one of the better players that came out of the draft. I mean, you gotta do your due diligence and play the guy, So I think it was a little disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. I was really hoping for a really special introduction to the NBA for Matas, just kind of having those moments and being able to kind of express himself on the court because especially once we get into that fourth quarter where at one point the Bulls are down, with 7 minutes to go. I mean, why not just throw him out there and see what he's got, not saying he could have won the game for us by any means necessary, but like that's a huge moment for throw your rookie, your top 10 or top 15 pick out there and see what happens exactly and what he's capable of. So, I'm hoping to see him more throughout the year. So I'm excited for his performances up and coming. This is probably not the smartest question to ask. Okay. But I'm going to ask it anyways. It's actually a dumb question. Do you think in the long run here through this season, the Bulls are going to be able to say they won the trade by trading Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso?
My initial
He
response,
did well tonight. I mean, Josh Giddey, I watch every second of the game. He was really aggressive and he was scoring in the paint. I mean, he was going in for every single shot. He was confident, but he did not shoot any 3-pointers. His mid range is gone. I don't know what happened to it. It's completely gone. He is strictly going to the basket, but he's doing well. He's facilitating a little bit, uneasy on the floor, a couple turnovers here and there. But I mean, you guys think Josh Giddey is going to be someone that the Bulls should pay $30 million a year to like he wants?
Maybe. I think okay. So to answer your first question, I do think, and I'm going to answer it strictly on the court because we're a basketball podcast. I think we're going to miss Caruso's true intangibles. And Justin, you brought up earlier how we only had 2 steals tonight. I'm not saying Caruso would have had 5 or whatever, but he always has a hand in the way. He's got just that innate ability just to jump a passing lane. I do think that's where we're going to lose a bit on defense. You did make a good point. He did bring a little bit of a, I don't know if spark's the right word, but he was fine as a point guard. Like he was, it's not going to be, he's not an absolute bust so far. 1 game in, I know, but like it wasn't like, oh my God, what did we do? Like, why did we do this? I think we're going to look back on it kind of as just like a, man, wish we, it's kind of like a Javonte Green thing almost. Wish we had the vibes guy on the team. I think that's probably how we're going to look at it.
Yeah.
I can't even put it any better. Yeah, nicely done, Tony. I would agree with that. And I think, we need to score. We need to freaking score points, dude. And I do think he has a lot of upside there. But it was a little worrisome seeing how little confidence he had in his own shot. That wasn't nice. That wasn't really encouraging to see. But I thought he was more aggressive than I would have given him credit for. I was impressed with how much he was going in the hole. I thought he was going to be a little bit more timid than that, just based on like a couple plays and games I watched in the preseason. I thought it was going to take a while for him to really warm up to the new team and stuff. And he stepped right in and did what he was supposed to do. However, it just didn't. I mean, we're going to need him to hit jumpers. That's just the thing. That's just what it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Again, it's a young team, and he likes them young. So, going over to I'm just kidding. That was terrible. I'm kidding. Going to another question I had. We saw there was a new edition of drones flying on the court. Did you guys like the drones on the court?
What was that? What I kept just turning to Nick, and I was like, what? Is our TV broken? Like, what is going on? What is it above the court? Was that the shadow? What was I seeing?
It's probably like from where the sidelines are, it's probably like 15 feet in the air. It's right in line with where you would see like the camera at like the UC and like the 200 level. So it's right in line with that pretty much. I was watching on my laptop. I swear to God, I swatted at the lap. I thought it was a bug on my screen. So it looked terrible. I didn't really care for it. And then they would kind of show you the perspective of that drone. And they're like, and then, the announcers, I actually didn't watch the Bulls telecast. I was watching the game on a super legal streaming service. And the play-by-play guys were like, "Oh, it's like a video game. It looks so cool. It's awesome." I'm just like, dude, you guys are crazy. This looks terrible. So I just want to get your guys' input on the drones and see if that's something that you were interested in or what. I mean, not at all.
Nick, go ahead, Nick. Yeah, okay.
I'm not doing a good job. I'm playing hurt right now. I'm a little sick, and I don't really like how my brain's working. I'm doing 2 thumbs down on the drones.
It was just so distracting. It was very distracting. I feel like did we get a warning? Were they doing it in preseason? Maybe I just didn't notice.
I didn't see it one bit. No one talked about it. I just think it's something like, it's see what happens.
It's crazy. It's like the new scorebug thing when they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna, we're gonna have the Bulls like in the bottom right corner. We'll have the other score in the top left." Whatever they were trying to do with all the new scorebugs, it's like just run the damn ball, just do the normal stuff. This isn't like we're not good enough and we're not bad enough to like. I mean, I know it was in New Orleans, so it's more them, I guess. Maybe either way, I hated it. It was distracting. I'm an old man about it. That's my take.
Yeah, I think like they're definitely trying to innovate and do some cool things. I really like the idea of like the meta and how you can like apparently be on the court watching the game. I like that invention. I thought that's cool. I actually did it once. It was awesome. Highly recommend that to anybody who hasn't done that at all. But yeah, I mean, other than what we discussed, I think we kind of hit everything on the head with how here's the truth of the matter is that the Bulls are projected to win 33 games this year. Okay. That is their over under on wins. And I know that seems low. But at the end of the day, I mean, we win in the season. We're not expecting to win the championship. Yes, I did tweet that the Bulls are going to make the playoffs. Okay. Because LaVine, dude, that feeling I got when LaVine scored going 5 for 5 from 3 and just, oh my gosh. I mean, that is such a great feeling when things like that happen, but you got to carry through, that spot in the game. You got to have your teammates step up and also catch fire. You can't just have LaVine going out there doing one thing and it's his team. I understand, but you got to have your guys step up and really contribute. And contribution is going to be a big factor as to whether this season becomes a boom or a bust.
Here's a question because, oh no, just it was so Googleable. Zion, is he too scared to play the Bulls? Question mark.
Dude, I had this fantasy in my head going into this game of Matas just putting Zion on a poster. Kind of to be honest, and I was like, I would be tweeting that we're going to the playoffs if that happened. But he didn't want to face the music man. So I don't know. Some are saying he's scared.
He's claiming he had an illness. Nick's here. Nick has an illness. Wow, that was a hard sentence.
I'm here.
Some people are saying, maybe they should just give us.
I mean, maybe he was scared to play against Lonzo because they played together. Maybe there's some Lonzo beef. Who knows?
Oh, that could be. We should also probably talk about Lonzo. That alley-oop to Zach LaVine. Okay, if you want to talk about when you thought playoffs, that's when I thought playoffs. I was like, oh, we're back. We fixed it. The last 2.5 years hasn't happened. Whatever it's been, we're all the way back, and then we weren't. But Lonzo, he looked good again for like Nick said off the top, having a dead man's cartilage in his knee.
Oh, we got that Tesla knee comment. So I texted our group chat, and I'm not gonna say who, but I said someone needs a Tesla knee. Okay, in order for things to get back on track. So if you can make some knees, I mean, you'll be worth trillions of dollars for these athletes. So get going, Tesla.
Yeah. But yeah, Zion looked good. Or Zion, I keep saying Zion. He didn't look good. He didn't play. He's a baby and he's scared of us. Lonzo looked good.
Too. Yeah.
I did want to call. I wanted to call out a Kobe White play that I actually really appreciated. We were talking hustle. How we're going to miss it with Alex Caruso gone and Javonte Green gone. Kobe had a brutal turnover. Just threw it right to the Pelicans at half court. But after just doing some, crazy, I'm so upset, which, fair. He came right back down. And I think it was Brandon Ingram was going up to shoot it. He kind of swatted it right out of his hands, turned it right back around. I think they got some points out of it. Like that to me at least was like, okay, Kobe's still playing with heart. This isn't a team that has quit, first game in like we've seen the Pistons do in the past and some of these other teams that are actually bad. So we hopefully won't be that bad. I did like that though.
Kobe White gave it all. I mean, he was struggling offensively, but he really did put in 100% effort. So I really appreciate Kobe White just not giving up on himself, not giving up on the ball, just completely contributing his whole self into, the outcome of this game. He did a great job. I mean, not statistically, but his heart was there, and that's all that matters. Yeah, it's game one, guys. It's okay. It's okay. It's game one. Not everything we wanted to see, of course. But again, there were some really, really great things that we saw. And I'm super pumped for the rest of the year because, well, but before I say that, next week, or I'm sorry, not next week, a couple days, we got Milwaukee. All right. That's gonna be a tough one. We're gonna be seeing a lot of Giannis. Giannis is gonna take advantage of Vooch, okay? But how is Vooch gonna respond? That's gonna be the big question. That's my big key of next game is how is Vooch gonna respond to Giannis? Okay. So yeah, we Milwaukee next. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, man, a little trouble in paradise there, right? Giannis, he's such a baby. He made that comment about he was like, well, if I don't win a championship this year, they might trade me or they might get rid of me or blah blah blah. And it's like he just says these things where it felt like at the beginning of his career he was such a lovable, like just innocent but funny. Like he was just a funny guy. He was like the lighthearted guy on the team, kind of like he had like Dalen Terry vibes, but with like Michael Jordan talent. It's like, well, it doesn't get better than that. But Dalen Terry, by the way, I think is our only vibes guy now, and I love Dalen. But it'd be nice to have like a player that plays a lot of minutes also be the vibes guy, not the last guy off the bench. But I still love Dalen. I think he's hilarious. There's my hot take.
If we're doing the smallest little Milwaukee versus Bulls preview ever, they got Doc Rivers on that sideline. Doc Rivers stinks. They'll be fine in the regular season. I'm sure we're gonna get smoked. But just in general, I do think as the season goes on, we might be able to catch him on a couple games where there's cracks forming. Dame Lillard is lonely in Milwaukee or whatever he was talking about last year. That team's in a weird spot. And hey, maybe they will be slow to start the season. Maybe it will be they haven't gotten over those little cracks yet. Maybe they'll figure it out later in the season. But I don't know. Going into Milwaukee is gonna be interesting.
Damian Lillard tonight, 30 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds.
Oh, that's basically what Julian Phillips had, except for none of those numbers. So I mean, dude, we got it.
Hey, Julian Phillips, man, that guy's gonna be something. I promise.
He was fun. He was running that. Speaking of a vibes guy, not necessarily like in the maybe the Dalen Terry way, but the hustle guy. Julian Phillips was running around out there, which is his job, I guess. But I said to Nick, I was like, oh, who's 15 right there? Is that Julian Phillips? And it was in fact Julian Phillips.
Yeah, did his
analysis
thing
on Julian Phillips. Yep.
Shout out.
All right.
I think that's it, guys. I think we're going to have to pack it up, and then we'll go into Milwaukee with a clear mind and hopefully a new game plan.
Yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah. Well, Justin, to your point, let's see a little lineup change. Why don't we let's do it right out of the gates?
Okay, great.
I'm on your team. Let's do it. Let's move Vooch to the 4.
That's what the Blackhawks. Yes. The Blackhawks were doing that. They were still figuring out their lines a week in. I mean, yeah, they are bad, but so are the Bulls. So why not? Why don't all of our teams should do that? We'll start Tyson Bagent against the Commanders. We'll start. We'll just shake it up. Just kidding. Bears are actually good, so that's different. But
they are. They're like, yeah. Let's go Bears, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see the lineup change. Let's see Montes get 15, 20 minutes out there against Milwaukee. And let's also see. I want to see THT out there a little bit more too. He needs more than 8 minutes. He was lighting it up. Dude, I'm a huge Talon Horton Tucker fan. Like, oh my gosh, I think he's a vibes guy. He might be a vibes guy too.
Chicago's own.
Yeah, Iowa State,
somewhere in Illinois. Yeah.
I think that was. I was bummed to see him go in before Montes, but other than that, I'm a huge THT guy. Make that
sweet
for sure. Yeah,
cool. I'm glad we all agree on that.
Since no one's going to watch the end of this potentially, THT, man, did he look like a guy. He played well. He played fine, but he looked like a guy just out for a little Sunday run at the YMCA. That
he looks like he could be a defensive end for like a D3 school right now.
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
He was doing the cute little short arm run a couple times. I was like, oh, shuffling. Sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
No, this is probably not something like someone of my color should say, but he's Unk. He's big Unk, man. Like he's given He's
Yes.
given like uncle on a sitcom vibe, and I love it.
And he played with LeBron, so he's got Unk status. I think he's got Unk status.
Sure,
If you play with LeBron, you got Unk status.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I certainly don't, but hopefully I can get the unk pass on
There you go. You'll get it. You'll get it one day.
that.
Cool.
All right. That's actually all
thanks,
I have
bros.
now. So yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to add, guys?
It was tough. It was a fun little first half, like you said, with Zach LaVine going off, but brutal second half. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of just what we've seen from them for 2 years now. So that was disappointing. That nothing's changed potentially,
Yeah.
except for we also lost DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso. Yeah.
Irreplaceable, man.
Yeah.
Irreplaceable.
Well,
So,
I think that'll do it.
That's
for
it.
this
That's all I
episode of
got.
Just Another
Yeah.
Year Bulls. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. I saw a couple people popping in and out. Appreciate it. Hopefully next time leave some comments. We'll, even if there's one person in here, you leave in a comment, we'll talk to you all night. We don't care. So
Yep.
see red and let's beat Milwaukee on Friday in Milwaukee. Storm into Milwaukee and take them down, or at least keep it close. And yeah,
Do it.
have a good night, everyone.
Good night.